Hey everyone, I'm Orlando Gomez. I also go by my initials OG, and it's an incredible privilege to speak to you all today. Major thank you to Pedro, Jill, Ashley, and the rest of the Alumni Society team for organizing this event, and to Josian, Gloria, and Erika for sharing their amazing stories and advice. Today I want to talk about owning your story and owning your value. My dad came to the US from Mexico and worked in the strawberry fields of California, where he fought deportation every day. He eventually found his way to the steel factories on the south side of Chicago, and that's where I was born and raised. I had a humble upbringing filled with love and tortas, but also filled with gangs. I worked hard to attend a good high school, the same one as Michelle Obama, and I rode the train for 4 hours every day to go to it. Once I got there, I felt like I made it. I started taking my foot off the gas and tried to be my own man. I started getting into trouble, went to summer school twice, and was going to get expelled. But before expelling me, the school brought my parents in for a parent teacher conference, and that meeting changed my life. I looked over at my dad, the same man who left everything behind in Mexico to give me a better life, the same man that was pulled out of the third grade to take care of his siblings, and there were tears swelling up in his eyes. From that day forward, I vowed to never, ever take an opportunity for granted, especially education. By then, it was too late to get into a good college, so I ended up attending for a for-profit college that's no longer around. I needed to take ownership and create opportunities for myself. So at 20 years old, I packed my bags and I moved to Columbus, Ohio to start my career as an assistant store manager at a Walmart supercenter. I quickly realized that retail management wasn't the type of work I wanted to spend my life doing. I had always pictured myself in finance. I've always been an avid reader. Many of my favorite books had to do with Wall Street. Books like Liar's Poker from Michael Lewis. Now, no one in my family worked in finance, but I was dead set on breaking in. I looked across the entire US for any opportunity and finally found a role at a call center in Indianapolis. It was for Charles Schwab. Now I was making 50K at Walmart, more than my dad had ever made, and this call center role only paid 30K. That was $20,000 less. It was a big decision to make because I didn't come from wealth, but I needed to bet on myself, and that decision changed the trajectory of my career. Because despite working at a call center, Charles Schwab would sponsor their reps to receive their Series 7 and 63 licenses. In other words, at 21 years old, I was a licensed stockbroker. And I was able to leverage those licenses to leave the call center and begin working in private wealth management. I worked as part of a team managing over $1 billion in client assets. It was more money than I had ever seen, much less actively invested. I was making $1 million trades and sweating through my Brooks Brothers shirts doing it. I was finally working in finance, but there was something nagging me. Here I was managing the money of literal billionaires, yet my family was still living in an unsafe neighborhood on the south side of Chicago, and I wasn't learning how to manage their money better. See, what I realized is access is everything, and my parents and I didn't have the same access to investment opportunities that others had, and I wanted to change that. I wanted to learn how I could help families create generational wealth, and that's why I applied to the Peace Corps to serve as a community economic development volunteer. I was accepted, and I was assigned to a mountain town in Peru, 10,000 feet above sea level, that would have no running water for 2 years, which meant taking bucket baths and washing my clothes by hand. My parents were confused as to why I would want to do that. They were like, mijo, but we left all that behind in Mexico to give you and your siblings a better life in the US. But for me, it came down to providing access to education, access to financial literacy, access to a world outside of one's own. I taught senior citizens how to make the most of their Social Security payments. I sat down with local bodega owners and walked through how they should track accounting and inventory. I taught entrepreneurship lessons in schools and hosted business plan competitions for the local youth so they can think outside the box and believe that they had the power to take ownership of their lives through their imagination, their hard work, and their entrepreneurial spirit. Those were two of the most incredible years of my life and taught me so many valuable lessons. One of which is, even if you don't think you know enough to teach or that you haven't accumulated enough experience, I guarantee that there are many lives that could be changed if they only knew what you know. So I wasn't done learning, and I knew that back in the US, I had access to the best education in the world. During my service, I began applying to top business schools. I would take a bus down a treacherous mountain for 2 hours whenever I needed to submit applications. I applied to Duke and I applied to Dartmouth, and I was accepted into both with max scholarship. I ended up going to Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth and received an Ivy League MBA. After business school, I finally made it to Wall Street. I was an investment banker working on billion-dollar deals. To me, Wall Street was my mountain peak, but it wasn't what I dreamed of. The 100-plus hour weeks, the lack of time for self-care, the missed family events. I felt disconnected from between what I was doing, where I came from, and what I should be doing. I left finance to work in tech. As far as wealth creation, tech has the power to create generational wealth for families. I joined Drift, a Latinx-led startup, and one of the few Latinx unicorns to date. It's immensely powerful working for faces that look like mine because you can't be what you can't see. And during my time at Drift, I got to continue learning outside of work and completed a VC internship at Harlem Capital. It was at Harlem Capital where I found Web3 and instantly knew that this is what I wanted to spend my time educating our community on. You see, for most of my career in finance, I was skeptical of crypto. I remember back in 2014 laughing with coworkers about how people were paying for pizza with this magic internet money called Bitcoin. To me and to many in finance, there wasn't much to it besides speculation. You buy the coin, you watch the price go up, you watch the price go down, that's it. But at Harlem Capital, I was seeing the caliber of talent building in the space, incredible founders leaving Web 2 to build in Web 3, and billions of dollars of smart money investors pouring into the space. It was evident that Web 3 wasn't going anywhere and that it presented an incredible opportunity for wealth creation. And I wasn't going to stand by while Latinos got left behind again. It took me 10 years to convince my parents to invest in the stock market, despite it being my day job for the majority of the time. They were only comfortable investing in CDs, paying less than 1%. I finally convinced them to invest in stocks. They made over 13% in their first year. And when they asked, Mijo, what's next? I said, Web3. Back in November, I launched a community called Web3 Familia. Its mission is to onboard 1 million Latinos to Web3. I was new to the space and I wanted to learn. What surprised me was the number of Latinos who also wanted to learn, but hadn't found the right community for them. Web3 Familia got instant traction as a safe space where Latinos and allies can hang out, learn together, build together, and see themselves represented in the next frontier of technology. For those unfamiliar with Web3, it's a new way of interacting online, a way in which you own your assets, you own your identity. You can self-custody your assets so that you don't have to keep your money in a bank where they give you 0.01% just for them to make money off your money. It's a new financial system, one that creates access. As long as you have internet access, you can invest in the same investments as anyone. No need to have a certain level of education, annual income, or credit score. Thanks to innovations such as NFTs, culture has an impact on price and wealth creation now. And Latinos have culture for days. The artists in our community can sell their art directly to customers, cutting out middlemen and keeping more of the value that they create. Now, I'm not promising anything. Many of the same inequities that exist in our current financial system can be found in Web3. There's no guarantees. The price of things will not automatically go up if it's crypto related. What I'm suggesting is that if you're unfamiliar with Web3 or even skeptical, consider learning more about it because it can be used to power economic freedom or even just to diversify your portfolio. Only invest if you're comfortable. It took me many years to get there. And trust is the biggest hurdle for onboarding Latinos or anyone to this space. As soon as we hear the word guarantee, our walls go up and we're like, scam, keep that Herbalife stuff away from me. What I'm most excited about is the opportunity in Web3, the opportunity for ownership, the opportunity to see more Latinos interested in finance, interested in tech, and interested in the intersection of the two, which is Web3. Because it's a fact that talent is equally distributed, but opportunity and access just aren't. And it's time we finally change that. Thank you.